All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Unbreakable podcast. My name is Sarah Chan. I am your host. Today, we are in a little bit more of an intimate setting. We're in my bedroom. Why? Because clearly, some people just can't come out of the fucking closet and just tell you how it is. So, honestly, in this episode, I was kind of thinking about what I want to say and, coming up with one solo episode a month, especially about with multiple various different things that I know about. But it's kind of hard. It's deciphering that kind of that material, and quite frankly, I think that this episode is more now needed than ever, especially because of what I keep seeing. And today's topic is certainly going to be about different marketing things that I keep seeing that everybody just continuously keeps getting wrong, quite frankly. And then on top of it, we're gonna talk about the boldness that it takes to be an entrepreneur. So, the boldness that it takes to be an entrepreneur, it takes balls to steel to do this. And everyone is so encouraging about people being an entrepreneur, and rightfully so. Being an entrepreneur, I wouldn't trade it for the world, right? I do not regret my decision for 1 minute that I started when I was 24. And I said, I can't work for anybody else. I'm just going to go work for myself instead. However, I think it's harmful when we keep sitting here and denying that we do need people to work for us. And running and operating a business does cost money, and it's very difficult. Okay, so any of the real entrepreneurs that have been in business for at least 5 years, we all know, how difficult it is and how much money it costs and all the things. And some people are just not built for this. Some people are not. And I think we're doing more harm than good than kind of, quite frankly, telling people that they shouldn't be. We're encouraging people that just don't have the skill set and their mindset. And a lot of what entrepreneurship is, in my personal opinion, is I would say about 90% of it is mindset. And then the 10% you need to have all the SOPs, tactical skills, all the memorization and the connections and stuff like that. That's easy shit. The mindset is your biggest battle. And that is why this podcast is called Unbreakable. Um, I feel like right now we're in a time where you have to figure out what to do really quickly because everything is changing so quickly. But at the same time, we sit here and debate each other about what we should or should not do. Let's stop fucking messing with the micro shit, okay? Let's start talking about, is this even worth my time? Quite frankly, not everybody's cut out for this. They're just not. They don't know the resiliency, the skills, the networking skills that you have to have. You have to be such a sociable person to do this, and you have to be outgoing, and you have to be articulate to be an entrepreneur. And I know just some people, they're fine in a cubicle, and that's great, right? That's great. You need to learn how to pick your hard. When it gets hard in entrepreneurship, you cannot fucking complain though. You can't complain. You choose the life that you want, right? If I chose a 9 to 5, I'd be sitting in a fucking cubicle, absolutely miserable, and probably taking orders from someone that I already think is an absolute dickhead. Period. Okay. However, you got me on this side who actually runs a business, six-figure business owner, sold 110,000 in 8 months working at Saxon Avenue at 22, successful as fuck. And here I am. I'm like, yeah, there are things I've had to go through in the last 2 years that I didn't expect to go through. However, did it make me a better person that's more articulate and straightforward? And the fact that I'm brutally honest to the point? Absolutely. Everything that's happened to me in the last 2 years is needed to build character. The character development that's required in entrepreneurship is not being talked about. And I think it's hypocritical that it's not. Because when are we going to stop sitting here and denying the fact that entrepreneurship isn't for the weak? It's not. There are going to be months, ladies and gentlemen, just like fair warning, don't give a fuck what industry you're in. There are going to be months that you do not make money. It's not this whole like get rich quick scheme bullshit that you keep seeing on Instagram. No, it's not any of that. There are going to be months that you don't make money, and that you need to prepare financially for that. And also, you need to be prepared for the things that you go through. Like, I don't know, having really bad mentors and business coaches and people that you contract their services and they do such a shitty job or they say something fucked up about you that makes you need to fire them. Okay? You need to get prepared for that because those things come out of fucking nowhere. However, they're necessary. You need to handle it like a competent adult because the fact that this is a game where you cannot get hyper emotional. I see a lot of entrepreneurs right now get hyper emotional when they don't get something and they make impulsive decisions and they don't know what they want, but they know they need a result and they're acting out of emotion versus actual logic. And that's 99%, 9% of the time is how you fucking fail in this game. Sorry. And what makes me so qualified to say this? I'm not. This is just simply pattern recognition. And I'm tired of seeing people not be brutally honest. I'm tired of people saying that, like, you want to make content that's so originally authentic to you, but it sounds like some corporate dickhead in a marketing department wrote it. You cannot bring corporate ethos to entrepreneurship. It does not align. It's not possible. The corporate mindset does not survive in entrepreneurship 99.9% of the time. It just doesn't. Because the more and more you start thinking like corporate and you keep tolerating the wishy-washy, yeah, maybe no, this, that, and the third, you get annoyed very quickly. You lose your patience for people and then you move on. And quite frankly, and I think that's why a lot of entrepreneurs are saying no very quickly to you pitching them is because one, they're being pitched all the fucking time, and two, they have no idea how to articulate what it is that they want. I'm not a sales coach by any means, but it's almost like right now you have to tell people what they should want. I find that absolutely fucking ironic. Being the youngest one in the room constantly and always knowing what the fuck I want, and no one else has that shit figured out. It's kind of incredible, honestly. It just, guys, we're in a time right now where you just need to have your shit together. You need to know what you want. You need to figure it out. And if you don't have it figured out, you need to get that shit really figured out really quickly. You guys can't sit here anymore and just play it fucking loosey goosey and go coast. You need to get aggressive. This is a year where you need to be aggressive in business. This isn't a time where you sit down and you don't get your head straight and you don't think about the future and you don't plan and you don't do this. This is not a fucking year for that. Sorry. This is a year to take advantage of all the energy around you and harness it and plan for the next 5. Okay. This year will actually, quite frankly, you'll see a lot of entrepreneurs make or break this year. Some people are going to be able to handle depression, some people are not. And I've been saying that very privately to a couple of you guys who I've met with. And finally, I'm making a podcast about this. Okay. We're in a time where we have never seen more people want to become an entrepreneur but not know how. Because everybody is trying to profit off of being in the online space but not know how to operate in the online space. Quite frankly, I'm not saying that it's necessary for you to know how to operate in the online space. It's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that you need to have a deciphered plan and you can't just like fucking walk around with no plan, guys. You can't. Entrepreneurship is not a game where you just kind of like figure it out as you go. It's not. You gotta have a plan. If you fail, yeah, that's fine. But it's not a game where you can just kind of like walk around and have no fucking plan. And the amount of people that I keep seeing that do not have a fucking plan is astounding. They don't have some sort of provable, measurable system in place to define that. Sorry. And that comes back to marketing too. Is like if you guys are gonna market yourselves, you guys gotta be really honest with who you are and what you want and goal setting. You know, somebody, I can't remember who it was. It was when I didn't work for myself when I was younger. Someone said to me, make SMART goals. Write out SMART, the word SMART, and do an acronym like, make them attainable, make them, thorough, make them reasonable, right? Don't overextenuate your goals and your goal setting, but be realistic about what you want and how to get there. I think we live in a time where everybody's being too fucking careful and we're not seeing enough results because everybody's trying to be something that they're fucking not. Marketability, from a marketability standpoint, being marketable is about standing out. Now, I am called the controversial copywriter for a reason. I will tell you straight to your face if I think you're lying about who you are on the internet. Do I give a shit that people fucking hate that? Not really. Because the only one that I actually fear is my mom and Jesus. Call it a fucking day. Like, I really just don't care anymore about anybody telling me that I'm wrong because actually, I'm not wrong because I went to an event in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I was watching Eleanor Sarugo talk on the same panel as somebody else. Maybe it was the panel before she sat there. And she's a marketing expert. She's like, there's recent trend that we keep seeing is be yourself. I was like, interesting. She got paid 5 grand. I didn't get paid shit because I'm sitting in the crowd. And I could have said the exact same thing for 5 grand, right? So if someone that's getting paid 5 grand is saying it and I'm not getting paid shit, right? I'm sitting in the crowd and not saying a damn thing. Yeah, you should be listening to marketing experts. Most marketers don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. However, some of us do. Some of us will be very honest with you and very brutally honest about what we think about your content and how it's reflecting you, your brand, and who you are. And that's why a lot of marketers put such a high emphasis on personal development and a personal brand. Why? Because it represents you. And people are going to fall in love with the founder story. They're not going to fall in love with the brand because who are they really doing business with? They're doing business with you. You're not doing business with the brand. Okay, just because your LLC is on the fucking invoice doesn't mean that they're doing business with the LLC. They're doing business with you. They buy from you. They know from you. They love from you. They like from you. They trust from you. Right? So keep that in mind. That perspective will take you actually very, very far. Another thing to keep in consideration when it comes to marketing is simply, you know, knowing what to say in what circumstance and what situation. Now, it's very contingent on who your audience is. However, if you have a bunch of people that most likely need to hear the truth, which is, I honestly would say probably 80% of people just need the crystal clear, brutal, honest truth right now. If you got an audience like that, just say it. Say the unpopular thing. And just kind of like sit back and what happens. I'll get to my personal experience in a minute watching my own LinkedIn and what I kind of noticed too. It will actually help you if you just sit back and enjoy the show and see how people respond. Marketing in general is like a very big social experiment to see how people respond, right? You have a designed avatar for whatever it is that you're selling, right? You want to sell to a coach consultant, maybe doing $1 million in revenue a year, which is very, very hard to do as a coach, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and you want this industry, you want this client to serve these kinds of people, and you write solely for this kinds of people, or you coach specifically for these kinds of people, and you have your custom made avatar, you have your ICP very clearly defined. Great, that's awesome. I'm not saying change that. However, when it comes to opening up to different niches, yes, you're gonna have to switch your fucking opinion. That's when you start going to market and start fucking around on the internet to see who responds. Now, you never know who's gonna get out of your normal ICP, and that actually allows you to open up the field of who you're trying to attract instead. The higher end market, ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna take anything from this podcast today, you're gonna write this one down. To attract people of high influence, you need to fucking be honest. They do not want more smoke being blown up their asses. Sorry. They don't. They hear it every fucking day that they're like, oh yeah, like this person's got this person's got this person. And by the way, I am kind of one of those people. I'm gonna be sound like I'm hypocritical here. However, I'm not the one sending out the DM. I'm the one who's actually has the automation in play. I have automation that sends out my DMs. I don't send them out myself. Okay. However, when I have to respond to a DM because someone wants, some work done or something like that, I'm normally the one who's texting back. Right? Until someone asks me that, my automation's at play. I'm not the personal one sending it, even though it's coming from my account. So when you are fixing your content, fuck around a little bit. See what people respond to. And by the way, I changed my headline just to see how people will respond. And so far, crystal. People have said, I love it. That you got some balls to change it to that and this, and this. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I got balls. And I'm like, that was a positive result, right? And then let's see something here. There we go. And then you had a bunch of people started realizing that I write a very specific way. I write very brutally honest, straight in your face. I tell it the way it is. I don't blow smoke up your ass. I won't paint a picture to make it pretty for you. I will tell you what you're doing wrong straight to your face and how to fix it. And I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. Your content is supposed to repel people that are not interested in your offer. Period. End of story. Your content is to repel people. Now, you don't have to sound like a dick, though. There's a difference between sounding like an asshole and sounding like somebody actually cares, right? I don't sound like an asshole when I write. I sound like I actually care about what you guys write. I actually care about what you guys write because I know how much content makes people money. Content is very effective. Content marketing is one of the most effective marketing strategies right now. It will be most likely for the next 20 years. Gone is the way of the fucking newspaper, dude. You can get a newspaper on your freaking iPhone right in front of you as long as you have a subscription to Wall Street Journal. Think about how much mediums have changed over the last couple of years. Where do you get your news now? You get it most likely from LinkedIn, right? When it comes to stocks and Forex and when fintech, if you're subscribed to, let's say, I don't know, you follow a couple things on Instagram. You're following Fox on Instagram. That's how I get my news most of the time. Back in the day, it was on Twitter because Twitter has something like on the bottom of the main bar on Twitter that you can access the news from. That's how I got my news back in the day, right? We don't access information the same way we used to. There is all online. There's no form of actual, most likely physical channel of getting it. Could you buy a paper from the newspaper stand? Sure, you can do it, especially in Manhattan, absolutely. But why would you do that when you have this and you pay for this? There's no like there's no reason to. It's an extra cost when you can just subscribe, right? And then if you do the math breakdown, right? A subscription to Wall Street Journal could probably cost you $15 a month and you want 4 papers in 1 month, that's one per week. Do the math on it. The times have changed. If you want people to notice you, you have to stand out online. That's the only way you are going to make it in business for at least the next 10 to 20 years. I'm being very serious about that. So when people tell you to keep doing something, people tell you to do something. People are telling you to do, hey, write your emails, write your this, write your posts like this, not like that. Put this word here, not that word here. Make this line a little bit more about storytelling and how you connect it to what you actually do and your actual main offer. When people tell you that, you should probably fucking listen because that person most likely knows what they're doing. It's because they've tested, trialed, fucked up, and won 1,000 times over to give you the accurate information that you need to be actually successful online. Marketing is not about who can fucking write the best, at least in my eyes, especially when it comes to copywriting. It's not about who the fucking can write the best. It's about who the fucking stand out the most. Who's got the most polarity? It's a fact. Who's got the most amount of balls to say the right thing at the right time when someone needs to hear it? And guess what? That person will say, "Hey, can I DM you for like a little bit more information?" Absolutely, not a problem. Send me a DM. Boom. Jump on a call, close deal. That's how it works right now. It is a lot less to get through the hoop to get to somebody. It is very, very simple. Even this, right? Making a podcast is fucking easy as shit these days. Okay, you need a laptop, you need an audience, you need somewhere to post it, and you need a couple of accounts, and that's fucking it, dude. You do not need more than that. So when I hear people make excuses for not doing something too, yeah, that fucking ties into this. Ladies and gentlemen, do not wait another day to make someone understand who you are. But I say that with caution. I say that with caution because of the fact that I've strived to get people to understand me for 26 years. And to no avail, that epically fucking failed. And I also, now at 26, don't give a fuck if someone doesn't understand me. I'm misunderstood. That guy's over there is misunderstood. That guy over there is misunderstood. Great. You know what the beautiful thing is? The people that are misunderstood normally become the most successful. It's what it is, right? You don't need everybody to understand you. You need one person to understand you. You need one person to understand your mission. You need one person to understand your story. You need one person to understand what you're trying to do. You don't need a fucking whole crowd to understand you. Fuck that ideology. That is literally the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard of. Is to literally get an entire crowd of fucking losers to understand you. You don't need that, especially when it comes to the online space. Everybody is always going to say something bad about you. Someone. Just because someone's a loser sleeping and paying rent in their mom's basement. Dead ass. Okay? Some dude is going to sit there and be like, yeah, like, I just don't like this person, so let me make a bullshit comment about this person. Okay? So you're afraid of being rejected. Rejection comes with entrepreneurship too. For the amount of yeses and versus nos that I've gotten, it still didn't stop me. It didn't matter how young I was, how inexperienced I was, where I came from, who I am, the fact that I'm a girl, fact that I'm not of white descent or whatever. Like, nothing stopped me at this point. Because at the end of the day, I was like, if I can make something that actually helps somebody, I've done my job. Even if it's like me getting on a call with someone and someone telling me, holy shit, that post really helped me when it came to figuring out copy, would love to know more about how you kind of structure it. Even if I could just hire you as a consultant on my copy, that'd be fucking awesome. How much do you charge? Boom. That type of conversation normally just leads to a better understanding about who you are, man. You don't need everybody like you. You need the right people like you. That goes for clients too. You don't need everybody to be your fucking client. Not every single person that you want as a client is a good fit for you and your brand. Period. And I see that as a marketing expert. I've seen a lot of clients in my own time take terrible fucking clients and it's not worth it. And then they're always calling me being like, this fucking person's a nightmare. Bro, I can't control what you do, dude. Okay? I can only control what I do. I help you, you take the client, not my problem. You make a bad decision about taking a client, that's on you, bro. Okay? You're an adult, you figure it out. I can't. All right? I'm not fucking Houdini over here. I'm a human being. And that goes for everybody here listening to this. You are a human being. You are in control of what you can control. Nothing else, nothing more. Okay? Do not sit here for another 20 years trying to understand how the world fucking works from someone else's perspective because you will only see it from yours. That goes for everyone listening to this. You only understand your worldview because you formulated it, right? Think about it from this perspective. If you try to formulate your someone else's opinion from their standpoint when you're not even living in their body for how long they've been on this planet, you really think you're going to be as successful as they are at it? Fuck no. Like, are you out of your mind? No, you're not going to be. That's just a fact. So don't sit there and waste your fucking time about trying to be something that, makes everyone feel comfortable. Fuck that shit. People will always tell you you need to write to the appeal of your audience. To a degree, they're right. Yes, you are. But you need to write to the degree of the right audience, not everyone. You need to write to the right audience. And that can come from just being yourself and being in your uniqueness and likeness, right? And being somebody that stands out when they're talking, right? If you're going to make content from a talk, why don't you just clip it down and basically say, yeah, like this is basically like a miniature podcast that I did, okay, from a freaking keynote or whatever. Make something, right? Make a clip that captures a really good moment of when you're talking, and then boom, that's content. Someone's going to resonate with that, especially if you're likable, you're relatable, and you're approachable. If you post in a way that you basically say what everyone else is thinking, but except you got the balls to say it too, I swear to you, you will get clients. Because I've had at least 5 people in the last 2 weeks DM me just simply based off the fact that they liked my content. And like, hey, want to learn more about how you write content for your clients? Do you write it just the way you write yours? I'm like, yes, I do. They're like, great. Give me your calendar. I want to book a call. Awesome. Content is the long game. I'm not going to sit here and lie and deny that it's not. It is. It is, and it's hard, and it's brutal. However, it does work. It does work. Especially the more you feed the algorithm with a consistent message every single time you want to go post something. And on top of that, you want to make sure that you're articulating what you want to articulate correctly to your audience. Because sometimes, especially if you write a post, sometimes it's not going to come off the right way either. Right? Like I know I use a couple different choice words in my post that is probably going to turn away a lot of people. That's fucking great. Don't care either. Okay, so you have to have a nice sit down with yourself and be like, is this how, is this how I want to be portrayed or perceived? Excuse me, or perceived. If that is, fucking post it. And also, I give everybody a challenge in this podcast. If you want to post something and you're not sure whether or not you should post it, feel free to send me a DM and I'll link my LinkedIn down below in the comment section. Send me a freaking DM and say, hey, what do you think about this? And honestly, if I think it's brilliant, feel free to tag me in that shit. I'll make you guys a challenge. Post what you want to post these days because someone's already pissed off with you just because of the simple fact that you're breeding. Think about it. And that goes back to my previous point here is that if someone is just pissed off the fact that you're alive, simply. It's pathetic, quite frankly. That person is definitely fucking pathetic. That you're just pissed off that someone else is alive. I mean, not everyone is gonna get your content, but the right person will. The right person will say, "Damn, where did she get the courage to write like this? Damn, where did she get the courage to say something like this?" Trust me, they're thinking the same thing. They're just waiting for you to say it. Okay? When I made the Super Bowl post and I literally wrote at the bottom, "Yo perreo sola," which means I dance alone in Spanish because I'm half Puerto Rican, just for everyone who wants to know. When I wrote that, I simply wrote that because I did not fucking care. And someone did DM me from that post because it was different. And everybody wants to be so politically safe and not charged and not emotionally like fuck, dude. You're gonna have to have a little bit of polarity if you want to catch someone's attention. Really, truly. Writing the most effective post simply comes from the fact that you understand how to grab somebody's attention too. That's why I emphasize on your subject lines. I emphasize on your hooks. At least the first 3 sentences of a post. Like definitely make it very, very good. Like make it polarizing, make it relatable, you know, Make it somewhere where people are gonna remember you, right? And that's how you get clients. Yes, it is the long game, but it does fucking work. It just does. People relate to someone that they see time and time and over again, right? Who's consistent, who posts shit, who makes shit up that's funny, relatable, and things like that. They relate to you guys. And that's why you guys have to understand that who you are, you're supposed to be the way you are. You have to understand that you are different for a reason. You're not supposed to be like everybody else. You're not supposed to be talking the way someone else is. You're not supposed to think the way someone else does. I'm sorry. The greatest minds of the world did not become the greatest minds of the world just by simply the fact that they thought like everyone else. Prime example of this, Elon fucking Musk. The guy who started PayPal and then Tesla and then now SpaceX and Starlink. I mean, for Christ's sake, the guy didn't sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I want to be like everybody else." The guy's definitely got like 170 IQ, is definitely on the autism spectrum. Like, okay, great. You fucking made electric cars very, very cool and very, very efficient. He did something right in life. But no one wanted to fund Tesla. Simply because of the fact that people thought he was in the wrong time period for starting an electric vehicle company. Which is, by the way, Tesla isn't even a car company. It's actually a fucking software company. It's not cars, it's software. But that's besides the point. I digress. You guys don't need everybody. It's okay to sit at a table alone. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back to the very first episode of this podcast and go watch that shit. And where I give a very, very, very hardcore, honest talk with you guys and say, hey, people fucking suck. People are gonna leave you high and dry. People are gonna fucking screw you. And you guys gotta get over it. And you guys gotta learn how to be very comfortable sitting by yourself and introspectively looking at yourself and saying, how do I make myself better from this shitty ass experience? Sorry. It's okay not to be liked, guys. Take it from me, I'm the master at it. Even recently, like the amount of people that have been so rude to me in my own DMs, it's like, wow, astonishing, quite frankly. But it's not. Because people treated me like that my entire fucking life. And it doesn't make me hate them, it makes me pity them. Now, I don't know what happened to you that you go around talking to people the way you do, but you talk to people like shit and you think it's not going to come back around and bite you in the ass. See, that's where I laugh. So let's get into that today too. Life lesson that I've learned in 26 years, don't treat people like shit. Don't treat people like shit. And let me tell you something, if someone's prospecting you, just say no thanks if you're not interested. People know how to take a no. People know when to not answer. People know how to be respectful. And you know what's funny is if I get a DM from one of you saying, "Hey, I want to get on your podcast. I think that you make really, really great content and you're relatable and likable and trustable." And all of a sudden, I can retrace a conversation that I potentially prospected you, or you prospected me, or you reached out to me. You were an absolute dickhead. Trust me. Let me inform you about something, especially with me. Number one, I might be 26, but I'm no dumbass. I'm no dumbass. I have 145 fucking IQ, and I trust me, I have a fucking elephant memory. So if you're a dickhead to me, there's no fucking way you're getting on this show. Because all it takes me is 5 seconds to reach it's a conversation, and whether or not I've had a conversation with you personally. So if you DM me and you're an asshole to me, and I catch you being a dick, and now all of a sudden you want on the show, there's no fucking way that's gonna happen. Mm-mm. And that goes for everyone. Do not put up with that shit this year because whatever you put up with, it's what's going to manifest. What you allow is is naturally what happens. It's not a foreign concept to people. And quite frankly, to the people that have been, and this is just a side note, this is me being very, very brutally honest. If you have been a dick to me in the past, I forgive, but I don't forget. I have boundaries and I've got fucking high standards for my life and what I want at 26. Because I didn't fuck around in my 20s. I went straight for the gun and I fucking shot that shit. I shot my shot. And I went out and I hustled like a motherfucker to get to where I am. And I've been through a lot of bad crap in the last 2 years, but also not a single ounce of pain stopped me to get to me where I am today either. So mastering the art of going through tribulation and then coming out on top of it is a profound art that one needs to understand and how to get to that desired location, whatever that you want to be with that. And you're no better. I think the more we allow people to be dicks with prospecting, especially on LinkedIn when there's such a big market for people and their services, there's going to become a day that you prospect somebody and someone is going to be a dick right back to you. And then you're going to feel the same way. But then you're going to be a hypocrite and be like, well, this person was an asshole. Well, you're an asshole to somebody else too. Think about it like that? Probably fucking not. What you give is what you return, is what you get in return, is what I meant. What you give is what you get in return. And don't ever fucking forget that one. Because life is like a revolving door. That shit goes round and round and round and round, revolving and opens and closes and opens and closes and opens and closes. And people are not as dumb as you fucking think they are. And sometimes, if you stumble upon someone like me and someone remembers the way you treated them, whether in brief passing or in a conversation, you better hope to God that they forget because most likely they won't. People don't like being treated like shit, especially in the business world. Because I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I definitely feel like someone will at one point. They'll just take a screenshot of the conversation that you guys had and they'll fucking upload it on their feed. And then they'll put a couple hashtags. They'll be smarter than me and put a lot of words with SEO, and that shit will be spread to like 1,000 people. And then that would be reposted all over LinkedIn. Then you're really fucked. Is that what you want to happen? My point being here is if you don't want that to happen, don't be an asshole. It's quite simple. I can actually see someone fucking doing that. Not me. I can give a shit less. If you're a dick, you're just a dick. And clearly you're just very unhappy with yourselves. I can't fix that. I'm not Jesus, okay? But someone's going to do that one day. And someone's going to remember the way you treated somebody in a DM or on a call. And someone's going to be like, yeah, that guy, block him. But don't forget his name. And someone brings him up in passing in conversation. And they're talking about you and you are an asshole. Someone will bring it up and you'll lose the sale just because of the way you acted. Trust me. I've encountered a couple people in the last 2 years just like that. And trust me, I have a fucking list of people that I will not refer out. I have an entire list of people. Simply because you either did me dirty and you talk shit behind my back, and there's no way I'm tolerating that. And no shit anybody else. Because realistically, if you want to operate like an adult, don't be a dick. It's very simple. The major takeaway from today and that I'm trying to get across is at least three things. One, be your fucking self, and especially when you're writing content and marketing yourself and your business. Second of all, don't be a dick. If you're gonna be a dick to somebody, you better hope to God they don't have receipts, and they're not a master to keeping receipts either. Because let me tell you something. If it was me and I have your conversation in my DMs archived, you're fucked. Because all I gotta do is pull right up. But that's gonna be somebody else, not me. I don't keep that shit. But I'm telling you, it would not shock me if someone you were rude to and someone that was prospecting you that you were rude to is archiving that and now looking at your profile and saying, damn, this guy was really much of a dick. You could have said, no, thank you, except you were an asshole and sarcastic. Except I'm going to take that and I'm going to screenshot that and I'm going to send that to you. And that's what someone's going to do to you. So if you want to continue down that path, go right ahead. But that's a lonely one. And that's definitely how you kill your fucking business. Number fucking three thing that you should be learning from this podcast today. Business is about the fact that you need to be on point. You got to be sharp for this game. It's not about the matter of who's better, who's this, who's that. No one gives a shit. But whoever can talk the best normally fucking wins. If you know how to articulate what you want to say, trust me, someone will buy from you. It's that simple. I have talked to plenty of sales coaches in the last 2 years, asking them even about my sales process. And I kind of break it down the way I do my own sales process. I never close on the first call. I think that's absolutely stupid. I think that's how you retain really bad clients long term. If you're doing business and you're talking about sales and how to communicate, trust me, you can easily get rich just simply by articulating what you want to say. It's that simple. It really is that simple. It is the long game. You need to look, if you're not good at articulating what you want to say, it's a long game, but it does work. People that communicate very, very well, normally in most case studies, they are normally the most successful in business because they know how to articulate the value in which of what they're selling. That's why I put such a heavy emphasis in being relatable, being likable. Don't give people more fluff or bullshit that they don't need on LinkedIn, right? Simply because of the fact that no one wants to hear any more of that shit. Sorry. And if you listen to some of the best copywriters in the world, like Dan Kennedy, who I highly admire, and you listen to his stuff and you read his stuff, you will see why I say don't be afraid to make a post that pisses somebody off. And trust me, it might be just the best thing you ever did. So post that fucking post and tag me in it. Until next time, guys.